Protest erupted outside a private institution after a 15-year-old class 10 student was stabbed to death, allegedly by a student 1 year junior to him. The victim was rushed to the hospital but succumbed to his serious injuries late on Tuesday night. Violence by adults and now even by minors. It forces us to confront a deeply uncomfortable question. What kind of society are we becoming? Who is to blame? And more importantly, who has the answers? How do we bring about change? The next report takes you through all of that.
Ahmedabad is angry, worried and in utter shock. What should have been a normal school day has turned into a nightmare no parent ever imagines. A 15-year-old class 10 boy lies dead. His killer, a class 9 junior. The school, Seventh-day Adventist in Khokra. Now the school is shut. There is public outrage. And the city is asking, how did this happen? So what exactly happened? A week before the first clash, the spark was small. The victim's cousin reportedly had a minor scuffle on the staircase with a class 9 student. Nothing violent, just schoolyard pushing. But things did not end there. The victim steps in. The class 10 student, protective of his cousin, later confronted the younger boy. Not aggressively, according to classmates. He just asked the junior why he pushed his cousin. But the younger boy took offense. He did not forget. He allegedly held a grudge. August 19, the attack. It was a Monday morning. The class 9 student came to school armed with a knife. He waited near the school gate, then attacked the class 10 student without warning. Multiple stab wounds, blood on the ground. Teachers rushed him to the hospital. He did not survive. Police detained the accused immediately. Since he is a minor, he has been charged under the Juvenile Justice Act. Initially booked for attempted murder, the charge will now be upgraded to murder. Police are recording statements from classmates, teachers and staff. The knife has been recovered. But the shock and anger has turned towards the school. Parents asking for accountability. What was the school doing? Why wasn't the initial conflict reported? Why were there no counseling or disciplinary actions? How did a student bring a weapon onto campus unnoticed? The district education officer has issued a show cause notice. CCTV footage is being collected. The school is temporarily shut. For many, this case feels eerily similar to the plot of the recent film Adolescence, a schoolyard dispute, escalating tension between teenagers and a final act of violence that changes their lives forever.
Being accused.
But this isn't friction. This is real. A young boy is dead. Another may spend his youth in custody. And two families are shattered forever. But this incident also raises a much deeper, far more urgent question. What's driving this violent streak in our kids?
Why are children resorting to knives, fists and threats to resolve simple disputes? What's fueling this kind of rage? Is it the unfiltered aggression children consume on social media? The emotional disconnect in parenting? The lack of psychological support in our schools? Or is it simply a society that has stopped teaching our boys and girls how to handle anger, rage and violence? The jury is still out. But whatever the cause, this cannot be dismissed as yet another school incident. A life has been lost. Another will never be the same. And the country has been jolted awake. Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor for India Today. All right, so like you see in those visuals out there, a 9th standard student actually doing this to his senior. What led to it? And importantly, how do we tackle situations like these? Joining me next is two people who understand kids and what's going on in their minds like no other. We welcome back Amit Sen, Director and Senior Consultant at Children First on the program today. Also with us is Harpreet Grover, founder for Curious Parent. Thank you both for joining us. It's sad, Amit and Harpreet, that after having discussed with both of you adolescents in detail and stuff that had inspired even the director of that Netflix series to make it out of events that unfolded in Australia, this is actually now happening in India. I want to first understand with you, Amit, why do you think at this moment 9 standard kids are resorting to violence? Could this have been not talked about, not spoken with? Is it an individual kid issue, or is this an institutional problem?
So, Sonal, I was listening to you talking about the various stakeholders in this horrific incident, and how juvenile crime has actually shot up through the roof in our country, particularly in the last few years, perhaps post-COVID. Bullying, violence, aggression in schools is not new. It's always been there. But the kind of extreme violence that kids resort to these days is unprecedented. In fact, if you open the newspaper, every second day, there is instances of juvenile crime of extreme kinds, rape, murder, gang violence and whatnot, where many kids who are juveniles, who are below 18 years of age, participate now. And the question indeed is that who is responsible? So it can't be one person, it can't be one thing, it can't be just social media, it can't be parents, it can't be just school. It has to be a collective effort of the whole community, who should begin to understand by now that violence in kids and mental health and their mental health, they go hand in hand. And unless we make it a central part of our discourse, bring it to education, to parenting, as not something which is a one-off workshop, one counselor in a school, one parenting workshop that parents attend. It cannot be just that. It has to be a regular feature of our curriculum.
Yeah.
It has to be something that gets embedded in the systems. So it has to be all stakeholders, coming forward and saying, we must do something about it. It's gone way too far to just dismiss it, like you said, like another incident. So there can be systems which can be built. And just like we, equip our children and our teachers with skills of both imparting education and knowledge, and also imbibing it in subjects like maths, English, now life skills even. What about violence? What about anger management? Do we make that a part of a curriculum in a regular way? Do parents get an understanding of what is happening in their children's lives outside the homes? Or even when they're in the homes, when they get connected to their friends, peer group, and social media, the kind of TV shows they watch, the kind of groups they enter in that space is something that
Dr.
we have
Sen,
no
you say systems that are in place. But what about structures at home? What about what they're imbibing from home? Harpreet is also with us, and I want to understand from him. When I see parents angry, understandably, parents breaking barricades, understandably, their anger, shock, all of that is understood. But I'm trying to figure out, where are kids picking this up from? Is it, as a parent myself, I want to understand, where are we getting it wrong? Because kids, as we all know, no matter what,
going into his shell or saw him getting angry and didn't report it. What is that child's YouTube history? Does the child have a phone of his own? What does he watch on Netflix? Is it Gangs of Wasseypur? What is he watching? All of these are questions that once you have children, it is a constant responsibility. And if you are a school and you have teachers, it's a constant responsibility there as well of the entire environment. So I think we have to shift the question from who is to blame to what could I have done. Now, when we talk about policies, there's a big study that happened in US where, because drug abuse was starting to increase in children, what they did was they said, we will make children aware of the negatives of drug and why kids take this drug. So in every school, they included a class on this drug thing. So somebody will come and explain, this is this drug, this is this drug. That, and this was a nationwide campaign. I'm forgetting the name of the campaign. It was a big campaign. Because of that campaign, drug use went up. Because children thought, oh, cool kids do this. Oh, they're telling us about it. So, the answer of violence is not to study violence. The answer of violence is love. The answer of violence is connection with parents. The answer of violence is having enough time with the child and protecting them from agenda of the world.
So what are you saying, Harpreet? Are you saying that these emotional classes that Dr. Sen sort of touched upon, that there should be classes now where we are taught how to deal with our emotions? I was reading about this mirror corner that people should build at home for their kids, where you sit down, you identify your emotion, and then you talk about it. For kids to first know what they are feeling. It's not just angry and happy all the time. There's like 7 different kind of emotions that a kid goes through. Is that what we need to do? Dr. Sen, are you suggesting that schools need to take up that mandate while parents can or may not be in a position to handle this at home?
To start with, whether you
Dr.
call
Sen
it
first.
blame or responsibility, whether you call it blame or responsibility, it should not fall on only one kind of people's lap. It can't be just the parents who have to deal with it and rectify this, right? So indeed, it has to be, I think, multiple stakeholders who definitely have contributions to make. And yes, indeed, that there needs to be an understanding of how, we call it emotional literacy. And emotional literacy has become more important than any other time.
Yep.
Because till the time you don't understand your own motivations, your own anger, your own frustrations, and what you imbibe from the environment. Like, for instance, there could be things that are happening outside in the world, which is the different set of wars that are being fought, the kind of violence that you see on our streets, the kind of reportage you have on TV and on newspapers about everything that is happening around us. Children imbibe that. They learn from it. They think it's okay to do it because it's happening everywhere, right? It becomes cool after beyond the point to be able to do that. How do you begin to question that? What kind of conversations do you have with children in different spaces? So it could be with school.
And do we really know that? How are you supposed to have this conversation? This is the first digital generation that we are all raising right now. We ourselves don't know how to tackle it ourselves as adults. How are we expected to sort of get some answers over here? As a parent, that's what I'm thinking. As a parent, what I'm also thinking, Harpreet, is that my anger towards the school is valid. When you can check kids' backpacks for if they're carrying their cell phones, if they're carrying any drugs, if they're carrying anything else, why not for sharp objects? If the situation is so violent, why not?
No, so I don't think the situation is so violent. I think this is an incident, but I don't think the situation is so violent. I'm saying it's like this. In US, they propose that because there are school shootings happening, hence every teacher will carry a gun, to protect children. Is that a viable option? Is that the kind of school you want to send our children to? That the teacher also is a trained gunman and they carry guns with them, and kids know their bags are being searched for knives and sharp objects every day. I'm just saying the more we stay on the negative, the more we go in this direction. I am suggesting the opposite one, which is in sync with what you said. I want to take this example. I'm on the board of this, social organization called Labhya, which also designed the happiness curriculum and runs it for the Delhi government. And they run this SEL classes, for example, and they do this in class where a child is taught to know his own emotions, to breathe, to be able to understand each other's perspective. A simple question like, if your friend took your rubber, how will you feel? Okay, now if you have taken his rubber, what would you expect him to do? And there's a beautiful story that they share where a child who used to demand everything from parents, mujhe phone chahiye, mujhe ye chahiye, after introduction to this happiness curriculum in the classroom, this is a positive curriculum. Happiness curriculum is a positive curriculum.
Yeah.
By introducing this, the child actually understood that my parents are, and a story was this, that they made a fictional story. The child goes home, sees that mere father ka jo chappal hai wo toota hua hai, and then realizes I'm asking for too much where my parents don't have the means. And this went from a child asking everything to a child writing a note to the parents saying, thank you for what you're doing for me.
Yeah.
That is one kind of initiative that can happen in schools, but eventually, I genuinely believe a parent should ask themselves, do I know what is going in my child's mind? Do I have enough time for my child? इस दुनिया की भाग दौड़ में मेरे पास अपना इतना समय है क्या अपने बच्चे के लिए? That is the question every parent should ask. If that is answered honestly, we will find the answer.
Got it. Dr. Sen,
And
I have last few minutes and I want to give it to you. For every worried parent watching right now who's saying that they're doing the best that they can,
Yes.
what is your advice to them?
So to start with, I think that I'm going to respond to what Harpreet said about, it being, can we get that kind of vigilance in our schools like we did do in America? Firstly, we must not make the mistake of saying that this doesn't happen so much in our country. It's out there in the West that this is happening. It is happening in our backyard. It is happening in our homes. It's out there for us all to see, right? And indeed, the parents' anxiety of what they can do beyond what they're already doing with concern and with intention is a big question. I think the best thing they can do is form a community with school, with the bus driver and the conductor, where the school child goes to school, with other parents who take their children to the playground, to form a community and come together to address this together.
Correct.
Where you feel strength in the togetherness and figure out solutions, not just among the adults, but also include some of the older young people, teenagers, to be stakeholders in it, to step up and say, how can we include them in the conversation where they will talk about their lives, and they have often solutions which could be, insightful and deeper than what we can figure out as adults. And we've seen that repeatedly in the work that we do with kids. They are very smart and they have many answers often.
Right. That's all the time we have, gentlemen, but thank you both for joining us and adding your perspective. This is, like you said, this is not the norm, so let's not get hyped up about it. But this definitely is a reminder, perhaps, of a story that how much do we know what's happening inside our homes? How much do we know what's happening to the mental psyche of even our kids? It's important for that conversation to start. Solutions will follow. All right, let's cut across to some breaking news coming in, where a debate is underway in Lok Sabha on the online gaming bill that was tabled and passed today. The Information Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has said that many have died by suicide due to online gaming. It has become an addiction for many. He also added that 32 people have died by suicide in 31 months. Linked to only online gaming. 32 people in 31 months, that's a big number there that the minister is quoting in Parliament, of people and kids who have died out of suicide because of these gaming apps. Now, many families are seriously impacted, he went on to say, and he also said that terror support, money laundering is being done on these online gaming apps. Now, India's association with the online gaming apps, remember, has been very, very topsy-turvy. We had several apps, especially those coming from China, banned for a period of time. Then there are betting apps. The entire ecosystem has been under the scanner for a while now by the ministry. And this time again, the minister in Parliament, while he was tabling the bill to actually ban them. All right, the news coming in that bill has now been passed in Parliament. So, based on all the information that the IT minister put out, they've managed to put the numbers together, and now the bill on online gaming ban has been passed. Let's quickly listen in to what the minister had to say in Parliament.
I rise to move that the promotion and regulation of online gaming bill 2025 be taken into consideration. Online gaming जो एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण सेक्टर बना है, इस सेक्टर में 3 सेगमेंट हैं. प्रथम सेगमेंट है ई स्पोर्ट्स का सेगमेंट, जिसमें स्ट्रैटेजिक थिंकिंग बढ़ती है, टीम में कोऑर्डिनेशन करना सीखता है व्यक्ति, कल्चरल एक्सचेंज करना सीखता है, और दुनिया में एक बहुत नए तरीके से ई स्पोर्ट्स का बढ़ावा हो रहा है. दूसरा सेगमेंट है ऑनलाइन सोशल गेम्स. हम सब ने ऑनलाइन सोशल गेम्स, चाहे सॉलिटेयर हो, चाहे चेस हो, चाहे सुडोकू हो, ये सब देखे. खेल सीखने के लिए उपयोगी है, एजुकेशन के लिए उपयोगी है, एंटरटेनमेंट के लिए भी उपयोगी है, मेमोरी बढ़ाने के लिए उपयोगी, और वाइडली अवेलेबल है, वाइडली खेले जाते हैं. ऑनलाइन मनी गेम्स जो कि आज समाज में बड़ा चिंता का विषय बना है. जैसा आपने आरंभ में कहा, कई ऐसे परिवार है, कई ऐसे व्यक्ति है जिनको ऑनलाइन मनी गेम्स के कारण एक एडिक्शन हो जाता है, जिंदगी भर की बचत गेम में उड़ा दी जाती है. फ्रॉड और चीटिंग एल्गोरिदम्स ऐसे होते हैं कि पता नहीं चलता कि कौन किसके साथ खेल रहा है, और एल्गोरिदम्स ओपेक एल्गोरिदम्स होते हैं, हार निश्चय हो जाती है। फाइनेंशियल लॉसेस, माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, कई परिवार नष्ट हुए, एक्सट्रीम केसेस हुए, सुसाइड भी हुई। अभी हाल ही में कर्नाटक की एक रिपोर्ट है टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया की, 32 सुसाइड 31 महीनों में, ये टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया में 20 तारीख को छपा है। और उनके गृह मंत्री जी ने भी मतलब एक ऐसे करीब स्टैब्लिश हो गया है कि ऑनलाइन गेमिंग के कारण, मनी गेमिंग के कारण सीरियस इम्पैक्ट आ रहा है फैमिलीज पे, मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग हो रही है, टेरर सपोर्ट हो रहा है। अध्यक्ष जी, वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने अपनी रिपोर्ट में स्पष्ट कहा है कि एसोसिएशन बिटवीन ऑनलाइन मनी गेम्स एंड कंपल्सिव बिहेवियर, साइकोलॉजिकल डिस्ट्रेस, फाइनेंशियल हार्डशिप, डिसरप्शन ऑफ फैमिली लाइफ, उन्होंने इसको ऑनलाइन गेमिंग का डिसऑर्डर एक नया घोषित किया है। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, इसीलिए इस बिल में 2 भाग है। 3 सेगमेंट में से 2 सेगमेंट को सरकार प्रमोट करना चाहती है, ई स्पोर्ट्स को, ऑनलाइन सोशल गेमिंग को। उसके लिए अथॉरिटी बनाएंगे, गेम मेकर्स को सहायता देंगे, स्कीम करेंगे। लेकिन माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, जब समाज के बारे में, मध्यम वर्गीय परिवारों के बारे में और इंडस्ट्री के एक सेगमेंट के बारे में, जब समाज के बारे में और सरकार के रेवेन्यू के बारे में चिंता करनी होती है, इन दोनों के बीच में माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने हमेशा मध्यम वर्ग के परिवार को ही चुना है, हमेशा समाज के बेनिफिट को ही चुना है, कभी इस पे कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं किया है। और इस बिल में भी प्राथमिकता दी गई है।
All right, moving on to some more news coming in. This is from Bihar Deputy Chief Minister and his big claim. He says that GST is set to be exempted from the health and life insurance. Remember, this has been an ongoing demand for a while. He said that the proposal to be tabled before the GST Council, he'll be doing it. And he said that after attending the GST Council meet, the group of ministers meet that happened. Now, what's the story here? Health and life insurance GST is currently at 18%. The government of India is exempting GST on life and insurance, life and health insurance premium altogether is under debate. 18% too high? Should we really be leveling that in a country where we are trying to encourage more and more people to get on health insurance and life insurance? Well, the Bihar Deputy Chief Minister now going ahead to say that all states have now agreed on the need to cut down GST on insurance premium. Much needed perhaps here in the country, especially when we are trying to get more people on board. Remember, one illness can really sort of erode plans for families at a go at this time. These insurance premiums, health insurance and life insurance premiums come into handy. But what exactly is the Bihar Deputy Chief Minister saying? Listen in.
इंश्योरेंस पे सब लोगों ने, सबकी इच्छा रही कि इसको पास किया जाए और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का प्रस्ताव स्पष्ट है कि सभी, जो आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने लाल किले से कहा है कि इंश्योरेंस के सेक्टर में इंडिविजुअल या उनके परिवार के इंश्योरेंस को, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस को फ्री की एक तरह से जीएसटी से मुक्त किया जाए। तो उस पर चर्चा हुई है सबका, और इसका रिपोर्ट लेकर अब जीएसटी काउंसिल को मैं दूंगा।
सर, हेल्थ और लाइफ दोनों पे एग्जेम्प्ट करने की बात है?
हाँ, सभी मेंबर्स ने सहमति दी है। कुछ लोगों का अपना अपना व्यू है, कुछ लोगों ने अपने राय दिया है, वो जीएसटी काउंसिल को सबमिट।
All right. So the question is of exempting the 18% GST altogether. Karishma Sudani, our colleague from Business Today TV, joins us now. Karishma, take us through what exactly are the demands here, and interestingly, what's going to be key is numbers. How many states actually come on board on this one?
Sonal, I think it's very important for us to understand that this has been long-standing agenda on centre state. It was expected at the 55th GST Council meeting in Jaisalmer that they would take a shot at actually reducing it to 5%, because that was the centre's plan then, and even GOM's proposal, which is led by Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar. But that proposal wasn't taken up by the council then, and now they are back to it, but back on table with a 0% GST. What is the plan? 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 What is the plan proposal which has also had some conflicting views among the GOM members. Now, what we've picked up from a couple of ministers that we've been talking to, say Rajasthan's representation, Telangana's and Bihar's, they say that one of the options on table is also to consider a 5% GST on the premiums. Now, if there is going to be a 5%, which is going to be a lower GST, then the centre will have to look at foregoing about close to 10,000 crore revenue. That is going to be the gap. And of course, it's going to be beneficial to consumers because that's a direct hit from 18 to 5%. But the second straightaway proposal that GOM says is they'd like to go it to 0%, that is nil, remove premiums on life and health insurance from the GST ambit. And that is going to be big, but all the power lies in the hands of the council.
Correct. So we will keep an eye on what the council actually decides. This is if it were to go through, even down to 5% or exempted altogether, this would be of great relief to people all over the country, definitely. We'll leave it there for the moment. Thanks so much, Karishma, for joining us. All right, let's shift our focus back to the top story we're discussing here on 5 Live. We opened the program by telling you about that shocking violence that unfolded in Ahmedabad. But in Delhi, the situation was no different. What happened today? Now, the Delhi Chief Minister was attacked during she was holding what is a Jan Sunwai at her residence. A 41-year-old attacked her. His name is Rajesh Bhai from Rajkot. He has obviously now been arrested. His picture on your screen right now. He was caught after he tried to push the Chief Minister. Many say she tried to pull her hair as well. And immediately the security actually sprung into action. He was taken into custody. The accused's mother, interestingly, has sort of cited untreated mental health issues in this case for him. Attempt to murder case has been registered. BJP, meanwhile, has called it a conspiracy. Amit Bharadwaj joins us live now for more on this story. Amit, the day has gone by. More details would have come in by now. There are several questions that emerge. But first up, before we go to the accused altogether, how could this happen with so many police officials standing right there? Senior police officers, even in the past when Arvind Kejriwal would hold Jan Sabhas like these, his personal security, that's tier 1. Then there is security of Delhi police, that's tier 2. And only then are the secretariat people are also standing. They let in people one by one. In the presence of so many police officials, how could this take place?
Sonal, that's a bigger question for the Delhi police to actually ponder upon because when you go by the security paraphernalia of any state chief minister, I would say, a situation of this sort is completely unimaginable. Having said that, when Delhi, as you also mentioned, when Arvind Kejriwal was Delhi chief minister, such attacks used to happen every other year. And Delhi police would come up with some random theories to defend their security labs. But this security labs that has happened is inside the CM residence. And it is for the Delhi police to explain as to how this could happen. And for our viewers' understanding, the general policing is a completely different matter. But the personnel who are generally deployed for security of the VVIPs or VIPs or in CM security or in minister security, their training is essentially to avert any such hostile incident. And this particular incident, as the sources had also confirmed, there was a physical assault and altercation, a manhandling, which went on for nearly 50-60 seconds. So what was the Delhi police personnel deployed in the security of Rekha Gupta, the Chief Minister of the National Capital, doing in order to stop that assaulter? So that is a big question that Delhi police will have to think upon, ponder upon, because this is not the first time it is happening.
Yes.
Arvind Kejriwal has been victim of such violence in the past. This time Rekha Gupta is
and Arvind Kejriwal has been a victim several times. Once it was a shoe, then it was ink, then there was somebody who came in to slap him, and now people thought it was an Aam Aadmi Party issue, but clearly not, because now a BJP chief minister also has faced similar assault. But what exactly is happening over here? We thought we'll bring to you somebody who understands Delhi security, also understands Delhi politics a little bit. Joining us next is Kiran Bedi. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us here on 5 Live at India Today. My first question really, when you hear about repeated instances like these, first Arvind Kejriwal, now Rekha Gupta, what is the first reaction that comes to your mind as somebody who's been at the helm of both?
It's very important to understand, for me to comment, how was she meeting? Was she meeting close by? Could they be really like elbow to elbow, or close by? Or what I mean. So I think that it's dependent on that. If she does not have a buffer, if she doesn't have a buffer, then I think that's what I think needs to be brought in as a system for prevention. Because a buffer is important. Do you remember social distancing time during COVID? When COVID, and then we even had a mask?
Yeah.
Social distancing is important. How many feet? How many feet even? If you see, I have in my social media handles posted a table, a long-standing table, which provided a buffer.
We have those pictures. I'll request the producers to put them up as well. Yeah.
With the petitioner, and I was meeting petitioners every day at Rajnivas. I had kept a buffer, a standing table by which I could receive the paper on the table, and then I could address it, and the petitioner could not cross over or get close to me.
Correct.
And on my right and the left, I had security. Now, I do not know whether our chief minister had something like this.
They actually did not, ma'am. This Jansanwai happens in a very different way. It's an open court of sorts. The doors of the chief minister's bungalow and residence are opened up for people to come. There's generally a queue. They form a circle around the chief minister. And that's been the case in both the terms, both in the case of Arvind Kejriwal and Rekha Gupta as well. But let's move on from this to understand then, are you saying that Jansanwais are really important, but there has to be a right way to conduct it, and perhaps then a lot of onus lies with the organizers as well on why so much of proximity was even allowed in the first place?
You can have a table and you can have a buffer, and it does not distance yourself from the people. On the contrary, it gives that person also a platform to maybe keep his little, to leave his paper, rather than giving it by hand, he puts it on the table. And then the Honorable Chief Minister could see, or the whole person who's listening, see, examine, and even write and see what can be done on this petition. So this is what we used to do. I used to write my direction on that petition, because I had the table, and then give it to my grievance officer who was standing next door to me to now take it for further follow-up. And I had security. I had the ADC on my left. I had my personal security secretary on the right. So it worked. I dealt it for 5 long years. Thousands of petitioners. And every petitioner was logged and then searched. And they used to also check out if anybody's smelling of alcohol. And those who were smelling of alcohol were made to sit outside in the lounge, and then and somebody else dealt with them. So we did not have such. So there was a screening, and there was a buffer, and there was a table where you could even write.
Interesting. So, ma'am, you're basically saying there is a way of doing it correctly. There is a possible format in which people can be heard and security will not be breached. So you're saying there's nothing wrong in the format, but you've got to be careful of how you conduct it.
No, it's not a bad format. Mine was an evolved format. It was customized. It was needed, because I needed to stand when you're so many people, and if you start sitting down, then everybody starts, or others stand, is bad manners. So you stand and you have a table, and it's like a working table, but it's also a little buffer. It gives you the space. I think it's about a format. But Jansanwai is absolutely essential. Absolute, because this is the only way of a direct feedback from the common man.
So, ma'am, as somebody who has been at the helm of affairs in Delhi Police, what are your suggestions to the Delhi Police CP, perhaps watching you today, on what should they be doing, or perhaps the CM security people as well?
I would not comment on this, because that will be dependent on the report of the interrogation. I think what kind of interrogation happens and what to do. That will be revealed from there. What was his intention? If he was hanging around, did he change his mind? Was he asked by somebody? That will be known only by his interrogation.
Ma'am, can I move away from security and ask you this? In your experience of having dealt with multiple instances like these, I'm sure, why do you think people resort to violence? Why do you think people even get to this desperation of hitting someone or making a point about it, fully knowing that they will be caught?
I think it's a decline of respect for authority, respect for positions. It's a decline. It's an erosion of our culture, of our values, and also for respect for authority, and also regard for law. I think that's a big decline I have noticed over the period. And number two, desperation. Desperation to, or it could be even to attract attention and be the bad boy, but the name is known. See, sometimes want to be the bad guy, and he still gets to be known, oh, you're the same. So I think the intention of this will be known only by interrogation by the police, and I'm sure they will know. And also the cause. It'll be important to analyze the cause, the intention, and if this person was done by himself or was he propelled by somebody or instigated by others. That interrogation will reveal. But such incidents can never be ruled out. You can only provide for them, provision for them, customize for them, care for them, and be alert for them. But these can never be ruled out. But only thing is that you have to go on doing it and take the risk. So that's why public life is a risk, is a life of risk. But you can have systems in place. And all I'm suggesting is a system is a tried, tested system, and which worked wonderfully well. 5 years of grievance redressal I used to hold regularly. Not a single incident came. Only because we had a system in place.
Wow, you're saying these instances like these can never be ruled out. There will always be a risk, and all one can do is actually ensure to try and mitigate them as much as possible. That's quite interesting, ma'am. But a lot of politicians after this, BJP, of course, has said there is a conspiracy. You rightly said the details when they come out of the police report more shall be known then. But a lot of politicians even visited the Chief Minister in hospital. They are all quite shaken up. There might be other politicians who might say, hold on, I don't think this is the right way to go. Do you have a message for those politicians?
I said all politicians, all elected representatives, all members of parliament, MLAs, municipal corporators, even bureaucrats should do Jan Sunwai. Even they need to do a regular listening hour. And if everybody does a listening hour, there'll be not many people who will go to the CM because they'll first go to the person who has the solution. So I think if every elected representative and even appointed senior officers, secretaries of the government, and MLAs, elect panchayats, sarpanches, if they decide to hold an open hour, a Jan Sunwai, even twice a week, and with such a buffer, no problem, and recording of what kind of grievances is coming, and what happened is a follow-up. I think pressures on the Chief Minister as a last resort and as a first resort will go away.
Well, that's an interesting suggestion for everybody to open up their offices for Jan Sunwai, but that's what Kiran Bedi is here saying. But ma'am, before I let you go, a lot of questions are also being asked about the security breach here. Do you think heads should roll after repeated instances like these happen? Why haven't we been able to put an end to this? Why hasn't the police security been able to put an end to this?
I think it's learning by experience. But unfortunately, we don't pick up good practices around. You know, we talk about certain good practices, but we don't pick them up. And good practices are around. And it's like one of them I shared with you. Good practices are around. We need to adopt them. And it's a systems approach. And keep evolving and fine-tuning the system from learning from experiences. I think it's a question of respecting good practices, which are still around, which are visible and known, even written about, and visible. And thereafter, implement them, but keep learning, keep improving, keep thinking ahead. It's like constantly on duty, think ahead. What could you do better? It's thinking, when you deploy it, it's like thinking ahead. So think ahead, think around, so that you keep improving.
All right. So for all politicians, anybody in public office who's holding Johnson, why there is a Kiran Bedi model of actually doing it. Do look at that. Do listen to what she's saying. There is a systematic way of actually making it happen. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us here on 5 Live and sharing all those insights. All right. On that note, we're going to slip into a very quick, but what's coming up on the other side? Adults are now using pacifiers. Yes, the same ones that kids use. Why is that happening? More on the other side.
I choose a world where we care and we dare to love. I choose a world where we dream and the limit is the sky. And this world is my home where I'm living my best life.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics.
Living my best life.
Sansar, a D-Decor brand. Live consciously.
जैसे चाहूं गाड़ी चलाऊं, तिरछी या फिर आड़ी चलाऊं, रेड लाइट जंप करता जाऊं, ट्रैफिक रूल्स को ठेंगा दिखाऊं, क्या कर लेगा ट्रैफिक वाला, मेरा बात है पैसे वाला, मेरे रास्ते जो कोई आए कर दूंगा मैं झिंगा लाला, मेरे को अब कोई टोकना नहीं, मन मर्जी से मुझे रोकना नहीं, मुझे समझाना मत कोई रूल वूल, ये है मेरा स्टाइल, मैं हूँ बंदा कूल, मेरी मर्जी। रॉन्ग साइड में मैं गाड़ी घुसाऊं, हेलमेट फेंक के बैक मिरर में बाल लहराऊं, ट्रैफिक वाला रोके तो मैं तेज भगाऊं, साइलेंसर हटा के खूब शोर मचाऊं, ट्रिपलिंग भी करूंगा जिसमें दम है वो रोक, हॉर्न भी बजाऊं ऐसे कान दूं फोड़, पॉल्यूशन कराऊं नहीं खूब मचाऊं गंद, चलती गाड़ी पे मोबाइल न करूं बंद, मुझे कोई रोको नहीं, मुझे कोई टोको नहीं, मेरा टशन देख के कोई भी चोको नहीं, मेरी मर्जी।
एकड़ी निकल जाए ऐसा होगा फाइन, ऐसा फटका लगेगा उतर जाएगी वाइन, खुद की लाइफ को डेंजर दूजे को भी थ्रेट, ट्रैफिक रूल्स तोड़ने के देख ले बेटा रेट, आगे तेरी मर्जी।
To know more about India Today's Gross Domestic Behavior Survey, log into gdb.indiatoday.in. Powered by Adani.
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
Hi. Here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Home Minister tables bills for removal of leaders facing serious criminal charges. NDA Vice President candidate CP Radhakrishnan files nomination. Delhi CM Rekha Gupta attacked at public meet, accused arrested.
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
Hi. Here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Home Minister tables bills for removal of leaders facing serious criminal charges. NDA Vice President candidate CP Radhakrishnan files nomination. Delhi CM Rekha Gupta attacked at public meet, accused arrested.
देखिए, चोट उनके हाथ में आई है, उनके शोल्डर में आई है और उनके सर में आई है। तो अभी डॉक्टर उनको देख रहे हैं और उसके साथ में क्योंकि पुलिस केस है तो एमएलसी भी बन रही है और एमएलसी की जो आएगी रिपोर्ट वो आपको बताएगी। वो व्यक्ति ने मुख्यमंत्री जी के ऊपर में हमला किया, उसके बाद में मुख्यमंत्री जी को उसने कुछ समय तक नहीं छोड़ा, उनके बाल पकड़ लिए थे और पुलिस ने और आसपास के लोगों ने काफ़ी उसको छुड़वाने की कोशिश करी। 40 साल की उसकी उम्र बताई जा रही है और किसी तरीके से मुख्यमंत्री जी को छुड़ाया गया और उसके बाद में फिर ये सारी बात हुई।
माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी दिल्ली की रात दिन चिंता करती हैं और यही विरोधियों की साजिशें हैं। उनसे ये बर्दाश्त नहीं होता कि एक मुख्यमंत्री कितने घंटे पब्लिक के बीच में रहता है, जनता को आमतौर पर मिलते हैं, अपने निवास स्थान पर जिसका दिल करता हो आके मिल सकता है। यही कारण है कि इसके पीछे
Welcome back here with 5 Live, and it's time now for our health story of the day. Now, how do you deal with stress, with anxiety, even ADHD? Now, different people cope with it in different ways, right? But some turn to medication, others turn to therapy. But in China, a rather unusual trend is catching up. You see that, right? Those pictures over there on your screen. Adults are now using pacifiers, yes, the same ones that we give it to babies, in order to soothe them. Now, is it really a harmless comfort tool, or should you absolutely stay away from this trend? That's what we'll find out with our guest joining us. Joining us on the program, Dr. Harish Shetty is a psychiatrist, well-known person in the space, to understand how exactly to read this. Dr. Shetty, as baffling as this trend sounds, there are millions of views on this on social media in China's version of TikTok. There are massive cart sales happening. Anything between $1 to 70 is what adults are picking it up for. And now, I have so many reasons of why you should not do it, but I want to hear from you first.
Angst-driven market is huge. There'll be 1 million players, and these will be fads that come and go. What is very important to understand that anxiety is because of the disturbance of the rhythm between mind and the body, because of internal causes or external causes. And China is using it. I'm surprised. One of the most ancient civilizations, China and India, have time-tested methods of handling anxiety. Tibetan form of meditation, Buddhist form of meditation, yoga, and mindfulness practices originated in China and India. And I wish people do not use superficial bandages or troubles inside, and they use systemic practices which have been time tested. Harvard also says this, that anxiety equal to yoga, and that is the best practice.
Yeah, but Dr. Shetty, a lot of people do this, right? For example, people chew gums when they want to handle their stress. They pace back and forth. They have journals that they write. There are these external support systems that we all dip into in order to get that support. So pacifier is just one of them, no?
So I would say that small exercises are pacifiers. Taking deep breaths for 1 minute between your 2 news reading shows. Is pranayam, micro pranayam. Just bending down and getting up. Talking to a friend who's very close to you. Cracking a joke is also very, very important. Chewing the gum is again a fad which started in the West. It continues. It might bring down anxiety temporarily. But what is very important is, along with the superficial practices, if you have been using, I call it mood lifters or mood shifters, please understand that bringing back the rhythm of the mind and the body, slowing down, calming down makes you more effective. People always say that meditation, yoga, vipassana will make you a saint. It doesn't make you a saint. It makes you effective to deal with the situation around. And internally, in your mind, you have new explanations of coping. Along with that, modern forms of counseling also helps you to change your distorted thinking and helps you to calm down. What is important is you might choose a chewing gum. Some people say that they stop smoking. That is because smoking is about oral fixation, and you get a substitute to suck. You feel better. I would advise everybody here, do not get carried away by a fad. Use those small things which you used when in school or in adult life. But along with that, mindful practices are interventions which actually changes the entire rhythm of the body.
I like what you said. The real pacifier is not that little pacifier. It's the other things that we do in life. That's quite beautiful. And also, if I may add here, these pacifiers, even with kids, they are habit forming and very difficult to let go of if you get onto it. It can destroy your oral structure. It can destroy your jaw. A dentist will give you 100 reasons for never ever to use a pacifier. Yet we have adults in China who've caught on to the trend. Dr. Shetty, if anybody is doing it right now, your last quick word, कि कैसे छोड़ें?
I would say stop the pacifier for a few minutes, start doing deep breathing for a few minutes, and slowly wean it off. And remember one thing, sucking without reason as a child leads to thumb sucking in adulthood. So sucking for small reasons with the pacifier might make your boss see you in hiding, sucking your own thumb in your office. So don't look at the oral cavity as a pacifier. Look at the entire system and where the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system is in balance. Look at things in the nature. Those who are connected with nature, their anxiety is much less.
True.
Those who play with water, feel the air, look at the sky, play with mud, and look at the stars. They are much calmer than the rest. So look at deep interventions, not superficial interventions.
So let's just say this trend sucks and you should not catch on to it at all. Look at other alternatives. Pick up the phone, talk to your friend, take help if you need. If you're feeling anxious, take a moment, go out. Try the 20-20-20 rule. For 20 minutes, look at something which is 20 feet away and just soak it in for 20 seconds. All of that is what can be done, except catch on to another fad like this one. Thank you so much, Dr. Shetty, for joining us and sharing your insights. All right, that's all the time we have here on 5 Live today, but stay tuned. Super 6 with Akshita coming up next.
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Home Minister tables bills for removal of leaders facing serious criminal charges. NDA Vice President candidate CP Radhakrishnan files nomination. Delhi CM Rekha Gupta attacked at public meet, accused arrested.